Okay, so before we start the class of today, there is some minor change that I'd like to tell you before we start. So for this class, we have missed 2 days of class because of the national vacations, including October 10th. And also for next week, we will have another day off. That will be another national holidays on October 24th. So which means we will miss 2 times classes. Also, probably our progress is a little bit fall behind. Based on our schedule, our midterm will be November 7th. Okay, here is our original plan. We will have the midterm on November 7th. So which means we only have around 2 time class left. I'm not so sure we can finish that before that. So just in case to let you guys know, and also we have the record. If we still based on our progress and based on our the performance on for you from the class. So if our progress is fall behind and also the learning status it turned out to be a little bit not that good at all, probably we will shift the midterm probably 1 week after November 7th. So it will be November 14th, something like that. Okay? Let's do it again. Okay? So just in case, if our progress is fall behind, then our midterm will be shifted for 1 week later. Okay? I think it's very common thing because usually we will code this one midterm week, and for the teaching uh, class teacher, they can decide which week or what time they want to have the midterm test. So usually it will be before or 1 week before the midterm week or 1 week after the midterm week. So in this case, because we have 2 days off and our progress is a little bit far behind, so based on your performance and also our progress. So probably we will shift our midterm for 1 week left. But still depends on our true performance for today and also the next 2 weeks. All right. Anyway, I will let you know probably in next week. So that will be an official announcement on our teaching group. Okay. So that's the things. Sorry, let me use in Chinese to explain that again. 同学啊，我现在在开始上课前先跟你们说明一下，因为我们这堂课大概有2堂就是被国定假日给耽误掉了，所以其实我们在进度上面是稍微有一点点落后了。那所以通常我们的期中会安排在我们的期中考周嘛，就是11月7号，那一天会有上机考试。但是如果说就是在你们的学习状况，然后还有我们的教学进度没有办法完成的话，那我们可能会延后1周，那大概就变成11月14哦，那还是在容许范围之内。那这一个东西，我们会在脸书的社群上面去做正式的公告，就是在下礼拜之前，我会跟你们去做说明。那还是一样，就是要看我们的教学情形跟教学进度，然后来决定说到底有没有要延后。OK，那不过基本上我还是会尽可能的，就是在11月7号之前，就是让你们把就是这期中考的这个题目给做完了。那其中这一周或者是那一周，让你们有一点时间可以去做一下复习，做一下 review。好，那我们就直接开始哦。Alright, so let's get started. In the last time, we have already finished the wheel of the tank. For this part, nothing special. The only important hint for this one is that we have already changed this model from the regular model to block. So if you remember, block is not like the regular 3D model. It's a model with the information, with the linking information. So once we double click, go to the block editing mode, we can edit the model, and all the things we change will show up to the other copy duplication model. So that's the feature of the block. So for today, first things I want to finish this one. I want to finish the tank wheels. There are some little details that I want to add in. So let's go to double click. Let's double click the block and go to the block editing mode. The things I'd like to do is to create some trees, some pattern on this wheel. It's very simple, basically just like this one. You can take a look about our reference model. There are some little trees, linear trees on the model. So that's the things I'd like to do. So for this one, how can we do that? Very simple. So first things, I hope that we can have around 3 trees on, sorry, I forget to share my screen. Sorry for that. Let me share the screen first. All right, cool. So right now I want to have 3 trees, 3 patterns, 3 horizontal lines show up on this wheel. And also the distance between them can be equal. So how can we do that? How can we do that? In order to do that, we have to set up the position of the line first, and also to using the line, transform that line into some solid geometry. And again, using Boolean to cut out from the wheel. So it's a little bit complicated, but actually the whole idea is pretty simple. So first thing is to define the position of the line. I will draw a reference line in order to help us to define where are the position of the horizontal lines. So here is the curve that I'm going to use. Let's do that again, okay? Let's go to here, choosing polyline. Using the reference point, endpoint to endpoint, draw a vertical line to help us to define the position of the horizontal lines. The second thing we're going to do is to using divide. Because what the things I say is that I want to have 3 horizontal lines on the wheels. So I have to divide this one into 3 sections. Let's type in divide, D-I-V-I-D. So that's the command that we can use for dividing the curve. No matter it's the linear curve or probably the curvature curve, up to you. So let's using divide. And the number of the segment I want to have, since I want to have 3 lines, so I need to have 4 segments. Let's type in 4. So now you can see that right now help us to create 4 segments or 3 points on these lines without the end point and starting point. So now we have these 3 points. Okay. Let me finish this one and give you time to finish that. So next things I have to do is to generate the curve. Let's go to curve. And I want to directly extract the curve from the model we already have. That's something very common things inside right now. We can always extract the point, the curve, or even the surface from the model that you already have. So now let's go to here. Let's choosing curve from object. And the things I want to use is duplicate edge. Okay, right here, duplicate edge. So once you click, it will ask you to select edge to duplicate. So I will choose this one. Just once you finish the selection, press enter. So now you have. Here is the curve that we can use. So final thing, go to transform and copy this one to the right positions. I will stop right here and give you some time to do the operations. Let me repeat that again. So first thing is, let's go to the polyline to a reference curve. Okay, this one is just for reference, so for assistance. So basically, it doesn't have any real functions. So second thing, how can we get the right position of these three curves? By using divide, D-I-V-I-D-E. So you can just type in divide and split the line into four segments. So once you finish this operation, you will get the right position of the curve. So the final things, the things I did is to extract the curve from the model. Let's go to curve, curve from object, and choosing duplicate edge. So copy the edge from the border, like this one, or this one can be fine, up to you. So once you finish, press enter, and then copy them to the right position, because we already have the vertex that we generated before. So that's the thing. All right, so I will stop right here. Let's give you some time to finish this operation, probably around 10 minutes to do that. And I will type some hint on the side so you can take a look. So how can we make this one become a 3D pattern? How can we make this one become a 3D pattern? All right. So inside right now, the idea is always the same. So we have to create the curve first. Then we can using the curve to generate surface, and surface will become solid geometry. So the idea is always like that. And in this time, we can try to using another command that called pipe. Because I'm going to create some simple tree, so it doesn't have to be very detailed. I just want to use in the circular pipe and make that one become like the pattern on the wheel. So let's just simply type in PIPA. And for this command, you have to define the radius of the pipe. So for the very beginning, probably I will type in 1.5. And the end radius, it can be 1.5 as well. So if you want to have a different number, you can change that. But for this time, I will do the same. So press to enter, then you can get that. For the rest of the parts, since they are going to be the same, so I will just double click. You can press enter to repeat the last command that you just typed in. So let's press enter. Enter, enter, enter. So press 3 times, then you can repeat that. So now we have 3 different toll roads shape on your model. So just remember this idea inside Rhinoceros. When you are working on the model, you have to create the curve first, then using the curve to generate the surface. Finally, using the surface to generate solid geometries. It's a little bit different from 3ds Max or Blender. But I would say if you are using the industrial level to check the 3D model, Rhinoceros will be more precise, but not that intuitive at all. All right, so now we have this 3D pipe. What can we do for the next? So if you want to make this one become an engraving way to create a crease, then we can use in Boolean to do that. And if you just want to directly merge them together, then we just select all of them and combine them together. For this time, I will choose the second one because it will be easier. So let's hold on the Shift key on your keyboard, select the wheel, select all the pipe, and go to here, just choosing Boolean unions, 布林连集哦. Please choosing the Boolean union on the side. There is an icon. There are 2 spheres be joined together. That one called Boolean union. So let's just click that, and it will automatically help you to merge your model together. So that's the result. All right. Let me repeat it again. So first thing is that type in pipe, P-I-P-E, and choosing the curve and set up the radius number of the pipe. Then you can get the toll road model on the surface of your wheel. Second thing, choosing the wheel and 3 toll roads that you just generated. Then using Boolean union to join them together. Then you can get the model just like mine. Okay, once you finish the editing, you can click confirm. So now you will have that. Let me type the hint for you. And you can work on right now. You can start to work right now because this part is not that complicated at all. So I think it is okay for you to do the operation by yourself. So first thing is select the curve. PIPE, set up the radius. For the union. Okay, so that's it. That's the things we just did. Select the curve using pipe to generate the torus. And then select the model using Boolean union to join them together. Okay, so right now we have already finished the wheel of the tank. The next part we are going to do will be the tab right here. So for this one, I guess you can have an imagination about this. How can we do this one? So if you remember in the last time we have learned a new function which named flow right here. Flow along the curve. We can force some object flow on the curve that we selected. So basically for this one, that's the things we're going to use. We are going to using the flow along curve to create the tab of the tank. So let's get started. So first things, we have to create the curve first. Let me move this one to the side. Okay, so let's go to here. I will start with a rectangle, this one. And just randomly choose a point as a starting point and start to draw. And before you confirm the shape of this one, let's type in the length of the rectangle. I will using 600. That's the size, that's the length of the tank. And how about the width, or let's say the height? I will type in 120. So this is the shape, this is the first rectangle, and we are going to change this one into the shape of the tab. So how can we make this one become a T shape? Very simple, let's just choosing the curve first, and let's select the vertex on the bottom. Let's move them into the center. So probably let's type in 45. And let's also type in right here, let's using gumbo and choosing the red arrow, let's type in 45. So now we have this one become a T shape. So for the next things, right now, this corner, they are too sharp. So I want to have a smooth round corner. So how can we do that? Just like the things we used to do before. If you remember, we have the fillet surface. So also we have the fillet curve. Okay, right here. This one is fillet surface. This is only for the surface. And that one, that's the fillet curve. This is for the curve. Just click this one. And for the radius, I'd like to change that one to 60 for the button. So let's type in 60. Okay. Because for this one, the wheel, the size of the wheel will be 60. So right here, I want to use in 60. And for you, just depend on the size of your wheel. You can use a different one. All right. And for the top one, I want to change another one. That's this one. I would like to use in 30. Or maybe 45 would be better. Let's using 45. It's too much. Sorry. Maybe just using 20 would be better. All right, 20 would be better. 20. Okay, so that's the shape of the curve. For the button, let's try to do some annotation for you guys. Radius. Sorry. Let's do some annotation for you. Okay, so the upper part will be 20 and the lower part will be 60. and the total length of the tab will be 600. The height of the tab will be 120. So that's the size of the size of the tab. And just like what I mentioned before, still it depends on the size of your wheel. For me, the size of the wheel will be 60. So just in case if your wheel is smaller than mine, then you can change that. Because I want this part can be fit with our wheel. So that's the reason why I'm using 60. But for your case, maybe it will be different. Okay? All right, I will stop right here, and then you can just try to set up the shape of the tab by yourself. So now we already have the shape of the tab. So the next thing we are going to do is to create the component on the tab, right? Just like this one. So in order to do that, if you remember for the command of flow and curve, there are three things we need to have. First thing is the target curve. Second thing will be the base curve, the reference curve. Third thing will be the component that we are going to use. So let's start with the component that we are going to use, okay? And let's take a look about the reference model right here. Okay, this one. So basically, for that one, it's very simple. It's just we can just simply using a box to do that. We have to define the size. For example, the thickness of the component, and also the width of the component, and then you can create some detail on that. It's totally up to you. All right. So let's get started. So how can we do that? How can we start? So let's choose in the box first. Just choosing a random point. And for the width of the cap, I have to understand how high of the wheel. Let's using this one. All right, that's around 60. You don't have to remember the command I just did. For that part, it's not important. Anyway, just if you want to understand how the size of the wheel, we can use in this command to do that by just an assisting tool. This command name bounding box, bounding box, and you can just click enter and create the box right here. So that it will tell you the size of the box is 63 by 63 by 55. So that's the size of the box. So in order to make the tab can completely cover the size of the wheel, so I'd like to use in the same size, just like the wheel, or probably a little bit bigger than the wheel. Let's do this. All right. Let's go to here, choosing the box. Click a random point. You can choose this one. And for the width, for the length, I want this one can be probably, I don't know, maybe 68. All right, 68. And how about the length? I guess it can be maybe 88, something like that. And how about the height? For the height, I think it can be maybe just 6 or 9. Okay, 9 will be fine. All right, so that's the size of the component. All right, you don't have to completely follow the size I have, because all of you probably will have a different size of wheel or different length, different shape of the tab. Here is mine. Let me show that for you. This one, 68, and the height will be 9. 68 and 18, and the height will be 9. That's the size of the tab. If you want a bigger, then you can do that by yourself, okay? Up to you. So next thing is for sure we have to make some detail for that. So how can we make some detail for that? For that part, it's totally up to you. Probably we can just simply draw a box. Maybe this one will be 9 again. All right, and let's turn this one into 0.5, make this one smaller, move this one into the center, and move this one down. Cool. Something like that. Let's use Boolean difference. Alright, so now we have this one. So for this part, it's just totally up to you. You can define what kind of detail you want to have. Define, right? So you can just define what kind of detail you want to have. Just remember the things you working on, it will show up right here. All right. Anyway, for this part, I will just ignore that. We can do that later. All right. So this box basically, let's just assume this is the final component of the tab. So the next thing, in order to finish this one, what's the next thing we have to do? We have to know the total length of this tab, of this curve. Right? We have to know that so that we can draw a reference line. Let's go to here. Let's choose this one. And let's go to dimension, or you can just simply using analyze, choosing length. So it tells you the total length of this curve is 1,298 point blah, 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 blah. So that's the length of this curve. Okay? That's the length of the curve. 1,298 and 0.5. So that's the total length of the curve. So we need to draw a same length reference curve, just like this one. Let's go to here. Let's using the polyline. Hold on your shift key to draw a reference line. Okay? So this is a reference line. Let's copy this one. Hold on your Alt key and copy 198.5. So let's move this one to here, right? And then let's draw a curve. That's the way I did. So, but actually you can just directly start from here. You can just choose this one and type in the number you want to have. But for me, I prefer more manually way to do that. So anyway, right now we have a curve. The length is exactly the same, just like this one. Let me type that for you. Okay, so the length of this curve is 1,298, and for this reference curve, it's supposed to be the same. So no matter what, which way you want to use, you can use mine or using your own way. Just create a line which has the same length like this one. All right. I will stop right here, and you can try a little bit. Let's give you some time to do this test. Okay, so in the last operation, I asked you guys to create the shape of the tab. And also based on the length of this curve, we create a linear curve like this one. Okay, so why these two has to be the same? Why these two has to be the same length? Well, actually, it doesn't have to be. But if you want your things, if you want your object can be precisely located on this one, and also almost seamlessly, well, then this curve is supposed to be almost exactly the same length like this one. Okay, so that's the thing. So let me repeat that again. If you just want to make your object can be float on this target curve, then this one doesn't have to be the same length like this. But if you want to be precisely with the object on this one, and also almost make them seamlessly, then this curve has to be the same length like this. Alright, anyway, let's keep moving forward. So now, here is the component that we just created. Okay, here is the component we just created. Right now, it's just a very simple box. So I want to copy this one to here. So which means basically just like this. Okay, just like the things we did before, we are going to copy that. But this time, let's using a command that will be faster. All right, let's use a command that can help us to copy this object. That one named array. So I make something wrong here. Array. That's the name of this command. Array. So this one is very simple. Based on the meaning of this word, you know that it's about duplicate something on some certain directions, right? So let's copy. Let's choosing this object and let's type in array on your command bar. Array. Okay, the first one. I think if you want to use in the GUI user interface to do that, you can find them right here, array right here. And this time the things we're going to do is linear or a long curve. Okay. Anyway, let's just using array, and it will show up some options that you're going to choose. So first thing is the number in X direction, which means how many objects you want to have in X direction. So right now here is the X direction, and I don't know how many number I want to have. So I just randomly type in a very large number here. So it can be 100 or 90, up to you. So anyway, I just type in 100. And how about the number in the y direction? For the y directions, well, because we don't need too many rows on this direction. We only need one row, so let's just type in 1. Also for the z direction, it will be the same. Just please type in 1, because at least we need one row for that. Let's type in 1. Okay? And next things will be the spacing on the first reference point. So what's that mean? It means that for the reference point, it will be right here. So the spacing between the first object and second object, what's the distance between them? So if you remember this one, the length of this object is 18. Is 18. So at least I don't want to let them be seamlessly. So I hope that they can have probably around 6 centimeter or 8 centimeter in the distance. So I need to type in 24, which means 18 add 6. So that will be the number I want to have. Or maybe I can type in 30. Let's type in 30. All right. So here's the things I have. Let's type in enter. Once you finish, we will have the, okay, there are too many of that. That's okay, let's just delete the rest apart. But you will find out, okay, there are a little bit, actually still not perfectly fit with the links. So if we just directly use this one to do that, to do the flow along curve, well, this one will be a little bit overlapping. So for that part, I will just directly choosing all the object. Okay, I will just directly choosing all the object. This time I want to using scale. Let's just directly using scale 1 day. Choosing reference point, choosing the second reference point, scale length, first length to follow the same length like the reference curve. Okay. All right. So let me finish this whole operation. Let's choosing all these objects, and I want to group them so it will be easier. I don't have to select them one by one. So the next thing is once we finish this operation, let's start to do the flow. Let's choosing flow along curve. First thing, let's choosing object to flow. Okay, and press enter. Second thing, let's choosing the baseline. It will be right here. And third thing, let's choosing the target line. So right here. Okay, so now you can take a look because right now, obviously, it's not follow the right direction. So we have to rotate this one a little bit, probably 90 degree. Let's do it again. If you cannot find the right direction, just do a couple more times, then you will be fine. Okay, so now it perfectly flow on the object. And probably you will find out some part, especially for this kind of turning point, the density of the iso curve will be super dense. That's because this model has been deformed. So we need more iso curve, more control point to follow this kind of curvatures. We can hide that, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, that's the result, right? That's the result. This part, okay, perfectly fit, but actually I don't want to have this one. All right, it doesn't matter. I will just keep like this. So please try to do that. Right now it's around 10:27. I don't think you guys can finish this operation in 3 minutes. So anyway, you can just try, and we will take a rest on 10:30. Okay, I will stop right here. Alright guys, let's keep moving forward. So in the last class, we have already finished the flow low curve operation to create this tab. So now let's talk about the detail part because right now we are just using very simple cube, very simple box to do the component on the tab. So the next things I'd like to do will be create more detail on this one. Otherwise, it looks pretty weird, right? This one looks pretty weird. So let's try to increase some detail, put some detail on this component. Okay. So first things, just like the things we did before, right here in this reference model, I make there are a hollow up part in the center of the tab component. And also right here, we have some patterns on that. So I'd like to do that again. And also probably in between the component, I want to create a join between them. So that's the things I'd like to do. Okay, so let's get started. So first things, let's choosing this component, and we can using this button to focus, make our camera focus on this object. All right. So first thing is, I'd like to make this one, probably this one will, in the middle, it will decline a little bit. So that's the first thing. And second thing, I want to create some pattern on that, on this model. So that will be the second thing. Let's try to do that. So first thing is, let's using the polyline to draw a line in the middle. Okay, let's draw a line in the middle. Then I want to use in the box. Let's draw a box. Probably this one will be around 9. The height will be around 9. Up to you. For your case, you can adjust the size by yourself. But just remember the size matter. So make sure you remember the size of the object. Now let's move this one to the center. Okay, I want to move this one down, press negative 4.5. All right. So next thing is that using Boolean difference, choosing this object, choosing the target object. So now, right now, this model becomes something like this. Okay. And for sure, right now, it doesn't look that good at all, so we still can do some refining. Just choosing the curve right here. Hold on your Shift and Control key. Choosing the poly surface edge. I want to move them to the center. This one as well. 4.5. Okay. So now we have something like this. Okay. And for this model, I would like to mirror this one. So I will just directly using Gumbo to hold on Alt key and type in negative -1 and move this one down. Okay. And I will use the move tool to make sure they can be aligned together. Choosing both of them, combine them together. So now I have a shape like this. So this one will be my component of the tab. Okay, I will stop right here. For the detail part, you can decide by yourself. But anyway, just try to change the shape. Just not just make a simple box. And if you want to make something like this kind of, let's say pattern on the tab, that's also very simple. Let me finish this one, and you can do your own operation. I will give you some time to do that. So for example, like that one, let's just using polyline to draw a decline curve right here. Again, decline curve right here. Let's choose these two. And again, if you remember, how can we change this one into some solid model? Let's type in pipe. And then for the radius, let's type in 1. Okay, so now we have. So this one will be the patterns. And you can scale a little bit to make this one shorter. That one will be less up to you. Okay, so now we have this detail component. It has this kind of decline shape and all this kind of slope on the surface, and also here this little crease on the surface. So the next things, just like the things we have done before, if you forget how to do the flow along curve, please take a look about my operation. So first things, let's using array to copy the object. Let's just go here, command, type in array. It will be faster. And if you want, you can also go to transform, go to here, array, or choosing linear array or a long curve. Both of them can work. So for this time, I will just using the command bar way. So let's choosing object to array. Press enter. Next thing is choosing a number in X direction. I will choose 100, just like the things we did before. Then for the number in Y direction, still it will be 1 because at least you need to have one row in the Y direction. So let's just type in 1. And for Z, it will be the same thing. So let's type in 1. And how about the spacing? For this time, I hope that it can be shortened. So I will just type in probably around 22. Okay, once we finish, press enter. So now we have this one. Okay, we have this one. I will delete the rest of our. Okay, it's pretty precise. So for the next things I'd like to do is that right now there are a gap between all these components. So I want to have a joint between each component. So how can we do that? Very simple. Let's go to this one. Let's go to choose circle. Let's choose in the polyline first. I want to draw a reference curve between these two components. So here there are a reference curve right here, a very short curve. You can see that, right? Yeah, that's the things I draw by the polyline. Second thing is choosing the circle. Then choosing the middle and choosing the endpoint. So now we have this circle. Let's rotate this one to 90 degrees. So the next thing is I think you guys already know that we can just simply extrude this one. All right, let's just simply extrude this guys. All right, make this one become the connection between the two components. And for sure, you can see that the scale is not right. So we still can using transform scale 1D or just type in scale and make sure this one can follow the size of this component. And on the side, you can see that this one is empty. We can type in cap, C-A-P, to make this one become a solid object. Okay, cap. Anyway, basically the idea is just to create a simple cylinder between these two components. So just no matter which way you want to use, you can just directly go here and create a cylinder, or using another way to do that. Anyway, just create a cylinder and you will be fine. So once you finish that, let's do using array again, A-R-R-A-Y. Let's using array. For the X direction, still will be 100. Y direction will be 1, Z direction will be 1, and X spacing, well, it will be 22 because they are the same. So press enter. So now we have. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so that's it. So let me finish this part, okay? Let me finish this part. So now we already have these components. We already have all these components. Wait for a second. Okay, here is the curve. Here is the reference curve. Please remember the position of the reference curve. And let's choose all these components. The things we just created. Okay, and press Ctrl G to group them. So it will be easier for you to do the selection. So let's just repeat that. Let's go to the transform flow along curve. Choose the objects that we want to make them flow. Press enter. Choose the base curve right here and choosing the target curve to flow. It will take some time because right now the object becomes way more complicated than before. But right now you can see that, well, we have the nice tab right here. Okay, so that's it. Please try to finish this operation. I will stop right here, give you some time to do that. And if you've got questions, then just come here, I will help you. All right, so now we already have the tab like this, right? That's the result. And so the next things I'd like to do, first things I want to create an armor on the top side. And also we need to have a big plate for this one, like this, okay, for putting our wheel. So that's the two things I'd like to do. So let's get started. So first things here, that's the curve that we use it for generate the shape of the tab. We still have to use this one, okay? So don't delete that. We still have to use this one. So first things, I'd like to create the shell, this one, okay? Sorry, not the shell, actually it's the armor of the tab to cover the entire tab, to protect and make sure it won't be hurt by the bullet or by the cannon, etc. So how can we do that? So first things, let me isolate the rest of things so that you can see more clear. Let's go to the front view. So this is the tab, and here is the curve that we use for create the shape of the tab. So if we just directly use this one to create the armor, obviously these two models will be intersected. Let's take a look. So if I just directly extrude this one and using that to create the armor, wait for a second. Okay, so obviously they will intersect, it will be hidden inside the tab. It's not right. So we have to enlarge this one a little bit. We have to enlarge the curve, the shape of the tab a little bit. So how can we do that? First thing, of course, we still can using gungo and hold on shift key to just directly enlarge this one. But you can see that because this one will keep the same proportion. So actually, the things we want to have is not this. The things we want to have is that we can add some spacing between this curve and the new one. So the things I want to use will be a new command, and this is a very common command inside computer-aided design, especially for architecture and the interior design. So this one called offset. Offset, very simple. So what's the idea of the offset? It means that we are going to add a same number on each direction. So for example, I want to add the probably 6 centimeter. 6 is a little bit too less. Let's type in 7.5. I want to add a 7.5 centimeter on the new curve. So that once we add using the offset, you can see that it will just offset the same distance on each direction. So that's the idea of the offset. Okay, it's not like scale. Scale will keep the same proportion and scale the object on every side, on each side. But for the scale, it will be for the offset, it will be different. You will add the same distance on different direction. So that's just using offset, create a new curve right here. Okay, I will type the command for you guys so you can wait for a second. So now we have this new one. We have the new curve right here. Okay. So the next things we can do is to using extrude for extruding the model to create the armor. All right. To create the armor. And if you wanna make a much more precise and make sure the armor is exactly the same wise like the tab, then we still can measure that. You can go to dimension or just go to the distance analyze and choosing the distance, measure the length of the tab. So my tab is 68. I hope this one can be longer a little bit. So I will type in maybe 70 or something so that we can get this one. So this is the tab, this is the shape of the armor. So how about the next one? For the next one, very simple because we don't need the button size. So they're just using explode right here. There's an option which name explode. So we don't need them anymore. It's just choosing them. Delete that. And just keep the upper bar. Just choosing them. Control J for join that. Go to edit, join that. So now we have this one. But right now it's just a simple surface. So should we using extrude? Well, that will be the same problem because the extrude can only extrude in one direction. So for this part, we will using the same idea, just like offset. When we are working on the offset of the surface of the curve, we will using offset to do the same operation on the surface. Just using offset surface. This one. And you can define how much distance, how thick of your armor will be. For me, I will type in 3. So this one is the armor. Okay? So I will stop right here and give you some time to do the operation. And for sure, if you want to change the shape of the armor, you can do that by yourself. But anyway, let me repeat that again. So first is, because the armor cannot be touched with the tab, so we need to use an offset to create a new curve. It will be a little bit bigger than the original surface, original curve. Then using the extrude for extrusion to create a new surface, that one will be the base of the armor. Finally, let's use an offset surface to create the thickness of the armor. So that's all. I will stop right here and give you guys some hint. Yes, wait for a second. Let me type the hint. All right. So in the last operation, we have already created the armor on the top. So no matter which way you use, you can use an offset surface or using extrusion, you're using another way. Anyway, once you finish this one, then we can start to deal with the detail part. So let me go back to the previous state because for this one, I want to change a little bit for the shape, the form of the armor. So for this one, you can see that this part decline a little bit. Okay, this one decline a little bit. So it's not like the shape right here. I want to cut off this part, make this one decline, have a slope right here. So how can we do that? How can we do that? For that one, actually very simple. Inside Rhinoceros, we use surface and also we use curve for cutting the object and also use that to compose the object. So for this time, we are going to use curve for cutting this surface, make this one decline. So let's go to the front view. Let's go to the right view, right here. So I want to make this part be declined. Let's take a look, okay, in 3D view so that you can understand. This is the surface of the armor. So I want this one can be declined a little bit. How can we do that? Let's choosing the polyline. Let's draw a curve, probably like this. Okay? It doesn't have to be very, very precise. You can just draw a very random or very draw a manually curve like this. Probably I will make this one look like that. Okay? So once you finish the drawing of the curve, you can see that in the 3D view, actually it was super far away from this surface, but it doesn't matter. Okay? In this case, it doesn't matter. So how can we use this curve to cut off this area? Let's using trim. This one, T-R-I-M, trim, right here. There's an icon, the button, which named trim. And in Zhongwen, it means 修剪. Let's choose this one. and it will ask you to select a cutting object. You can imagine, you can see the cutting object as a knife. So let's choosing this curve and press enter. Then now you can choose the one you don't want to have. So let's choose this one. I don't want to have that. So you can use that to delete that. So now you have, okay? Okay, so that's it. So if you want to have a different shape of the curve, it is also okay. For example, choosing the control point curve, you can just randomly draw. Okay, this is the shape I want to have, and you just choosing shape. Just choosing trim, choosing the trim, choosing the curve, delete, delete. So now you can have that. The difference between Rhinoceros and Blender or Mesh is that it doesn't have to follow the structure of the mesh and triangle vertex. So you can do many different shapes as you want. Let's do that. Let's choosing the curve, delete, delete. So now we have this one. Okay. So final thing, let's do an extrusion. That using offset surface, just like the things we did before. Let's choosing maybe 6. So this is the armor for our tank. For the rest of the part, it will be about the detail. Probably we can using a box and do the selection and extruding, make some detail on that. Choosing the curve line and make this part decline a little bit so that we can have more detail. But I will leave that part for the next time. For this time, please make sure you have already finished the armor, and also please remember to keep the curve that you already have because we will keep using that for the next time. Okay? 同学啊，这边的话就是基本上我们就是可以使用 trim 这个指令去进行曲面的修剪了。你可以把它去进行一些裁切，然后让它变成是你想要的形状，那我们就可以让我们的铠甲有些变形。那这个同学是没有办法避免的哦，因为这是别人他把向量去做挤出的，所以它一定会有点歪斜。那这次的话，就请你们先至少一定要帮我把铠甲的部分，不对，装甲的部分稍微去做一下。然后呢，记得这次所创建的曲线也一定要帮我保留哦，因为我们下次还会继续用到。Alright, so that's it. That's all for today. I think probably you guys are not that familiar with the software, so please, after we dismiss the class, practice at home and try to catch up with the program. If you can, take a look about the recording. There are some new, you can try to do some review for the next time before our midterm. Alright, so that's all for today. Right now it's 11:58. So if you don't have any other question, I won't do the roll call for today. And if you don't have any other question, you guys are free to go. See you next week.